I can call this meeting of the Nantucket Select Board February 12th, 2024 at 11 a.m. to order. The purpose of this meeting is the licensing agenda. So
hold on one sec. Charles, can you please resend the link to Dawn?
Okay.
Copy.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, I get on here, Erica, by the link that's on our packet.
Yeah, it gets emailed to you.
Yeah, well, I look for it on email, and I think when I click it, it disappears, but it doesn't save it to my calendar. And then I can't find it, so I have to go to the link that's in the packet that's for, to participate.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I go to the other link, you don't even know I exist, which is probably a good thing for a lot of you, but that's okay.
Dawn,
yeah, sorry.
we're already called to order, but we haven't officially started.
Okay. Well, let's start. I still have to pull up the agenda. Amy, do you just want to start taking us through?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here again today. So we're going to start this morning with licensing our license holder requests. First up, as you know, the change in ownership for Don Allen. This was something, we have someone here from Penske, Maggie from Penske here. If there's any questions, we had to investigate because we haven't done one of these since before I was born. So we went through and made sure we had everything taken care of. Obviously, very reputable business coming in to ownership. In these types of cases for a class 1 license, we had to go and do a new license. There wasn't a transfer option, so that's why that's the case. Was not required to be a public hearing, especially in the case of an existing location. We don't have changes. As you can see, they've provided the required documentation, the franchise agreements for the car dealers that they deal with. Also, one other aspect of this, Class 2, which is for the sale of used cars, is required for sale of used cars. However, if your primary business is new cars in Class 1, you do not need that additional license. So just to cover that as well. So I'll just ask if there's any questions for me or for Maggie from Penske on this. It's basically a consent and acceptance of this that we will then share with the state. Any questions?
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call. Malcolm McNabb. Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Matt Fay.
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm, I couldn't hear you. Okay, I see you're saying aye, but you must be muted. Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Thank you. If I may just, and I know Maggie's on here, to thank her for her patience at Penske for us to get all this in order, and I will be in contact to issue that license with the new company name.
Thank you very much, Amy, and thank you
Maggie.
to the board. We greatly appreciate it and look forward to being on the island.
Thank you. Okay, next. Next, we are doing a liquor license change of manager application. This is for Nantucket Historical Association, the DBA, the Whaling Museum. They are changing previously Joanna Richard to their executive director, who is Niles Parker. So this is an administrative change to who will be responsible for the liquor license moving forward and the management of it. Obviously, everything has been submitted. No issues at all. Very happy to see Niles coming on board and managing. Any questions with that?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call. Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Matt Fay.
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb. Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Thank you.
Malcolm, we aren't able to hear you. At least I'm not. I don't know if anybody else can. So maybe you can raise your hand if you're voting yes.
I can see him mouthing yes, but I can't actually.
Something where he.
Okay, we've got a thumbs up.
Okay. Great, thank you. Next, we are on the yearly Nantucket Wine and Food Festival. Now, this is separate from an event permit. What this is a license issued by the ABCC called the Charity Fundraising License that needs local approval. This is when a qualifying charity, which the Nantucket Wine and Food Festival is, gets a pouring license. It allows them to at a facility that holds a on-premise liquor license. So one of our licensed establishments, which we have 4 involved here as well, that they have receipt of donated wine for the event. So they are allowed as this charity to accept donated wine to serve at these events. So each year they have to put this together. That includes a letter explaining each event at each location. We have the usual location of the White Elephant, the Nantucket Hotel, White Elephant Hotel Residences, and Lemon Press. So at those facilities and for these event dates, they will be accepting donated wine. With town approval, this will go to the ABCC. They will review and they will issue the permit for these. And we will separately, probably in March, come back in April with final event details and permits for approval separately. Any questions?
Anyone? Brooke?
The only question I have is, I'm not sure what the charitable purpose of the foundation is or what local nonprofits have benefited from them. I'm not going to hold up this process, but certainly when they come back for the event permits, I think that would be really helpful for me to understand the local benefit in more detail.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a subject we bring up every year. They do certain junior chef and other types of programs at the high school and other things as well. But absolutely, we'll have that in more detail for you.
Yeah,
And if I can, I just follow up.
Yes.
Just to clarify, this is a high impact event, as I understand it, on the community, and I want to make sure that the subsequent benefit matches the impact, and that it's not just an event for people to come and drink on Nantucket. That it actually has a significant charitable purpose to weigh against the impact.
Yes, correct. And I will say a couple things, and we will get more into this when we have the event permit. We have worked with them and have had them scale it back quite a bit in the past few years, especially on public property issues. You used to have children's speech jetties and other things. So we have kind of worked with them at the point of saying that we can't scale it up anymore. It needs to scale back to a certain extent. And hopefully in this case too, bringing more local restaurants involved in it so that it is truly a local event. So it is certainly something we've worked on with them, and I will certainly have them address that with you. I agree on all of that.
Matt?
Now, I looked up their nonprofit, and they do give, they were closed during COVID. They gave a high of about 58,000 prior to COVID. They gave about 38 or 40, give or take the last couple of years. They give to the Boys and Girls Club and some of the substance abuse and the chef's thing. I think, Brooke, you're right to ask the question though, Brooke. One of the questions I have looking at this, well, a couple things. First off, the question for Amy, this is for pouring licenses, places that are already pour, but so they can be given it. Does this cover the, private homes that are involved?
Correct. A good question. No, those private homes will be handled as a one-day pouring license for each location. In these cases, the requirements for the charitable wine permit is a already licensed Section 12 licensee, which would be a restaurant on-premise license. It can only be for those locations where they're accepting donated wines from the distributors and those involved in the festival.
Because the other thing that I'm not sure we have the answer to, but we kind of should, is what percent of, how much income do they take in total from everything? And then what percent of that income is donated? You know, if they're taking in, 100,000, they're donating 30, then they're really efficient. If they're taking in $1 million or $2 million and they're donating 30, then I'm not so sure. And so I think that those are things that should be part of our licensing. It's sort of like licensing a restaurant. We should understand what the parameters of the restaurant are so that we're the town is receiving a fair rent, not an exorbitant rent, but not, giving things away either. And so in the case of this, the same diligence should apply, and we should understand what it is. Some of these events turn into, businesses for the nonprofit or profit owners. And when you look up these guys online, they've got a nonprofit arm, they've got 3 or 4 different profit arms. So I think it would behoove us as a town to understand, sort of what the workings are. Thank you.
Yes, understood and agreed. And I'll ask that question too, as far as reporting through the state. And I think they're not a nonprofit, they're a not-for-profit, whatever that difference is. So I will make that request through the state and see what we can find out.
Thanks, Amy.
Sure.
Okay, next.
Should we do an approval?
There was no.
I'll move approval of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
That's all right. And based on the understanding that we're going to start requesting that information in the future, so we have an informed decision. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fay,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up.
Scroll through all of this. So I believe, okay, we're up to surrender. Yes, okay. So the next item is we're asking for, it's a letter of surrender. Surrender of the liquor license 7476 at 12 Federal Street with LH Manager Northeast LLC. No longer operating the Pearl and Boarding House property. We will later in this meeting have the application for a new license. No issue here. There was just a changing of their priorities and working on hotels versus restaurants. So they are surrendering this license so that we can move forward with the new application.
Move approval.
I was going to say this is pretty simple. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fay,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. Carries unanimously.
Thank you. I believe we now are up to a discussion on liquor license fees and extended closures. I wanted to clarify here what we're asking for. So as I included here in 2019, in October of 2019, those of you who were here, we voted an increase of liquor license fees, including the annual license fees, application fees. And at the time created because of an increasing number of annual licenses that are required to actually be open year round, we're closing for extended periods of time. So at that time, we did vote on, or you voted on, an extended closure fee, which essentially was if anyone was closed for 60 or more consecutive days, which gets close to the seasonal closure period, that they would be required to pay that year the same fee that the seasonals do, which is about $500 to $600 more per year as we try to benefit those that are stay open year round. Okay. Of course, that got voted in about 5 seconds before the world shut down. So at that time with the pandemic, we suspended that increase. When restrictions were lifted in about 2022, you agreed to increase the fees, go with the increased fees for the annual renewals and liquor licenses. But at the time, I think since we were still negotiating how everyone was operating, that the extended closures, were just going to kind of work with them to see how that was going to shake out. You know, obviously this year it's gotten a lot of attention. We've increased the number of restaurants that have closed for long periods of time. And what I started seeing was those that were closing wanted to switch to seasonal. And our concern is with a lot of restaurants is that we're going to push such a huge number to seasonal. There would be very limited that would be open January 1st to April 1st, or January 15th to April 1st, which is that seasonal period. Okay. So that's what brought kind of this discussion on. So what I'm asking for here before we get into a discussion is twofold. The first really vote here is whether the select board would like to vote to activate that fee this year. I've included a list of those that have reported their closures and highlighted those that are 60 days or over. I think a few have not exactly reported, and I'm keeping an eye on that. Secondly, I'd like a direction or a vote or just a discussion with you about working with the restaurants, the chamber, and others on, thank you, Erica, on the discussion of how we move forward with this. I would like to try to work on a policy that works for Nantucket that allows for more flexibility for annuals, and we can manage it with certain fee changes. We're 5 years out from that fee change, so we might work on some reclassifications and things of that sort. Clubs and general on premises that are not open to the public on a daily basis, such as a restaurant, I think should be one fee each year. Some clubs that are really seasonal do have an annual license because it's easier for them to have special events off season, and ordering liquor is better for them on an annual basis in the off season. So again, I won't get too far into that discussion, but the discussion here should be twofold. One, a vote on whether we are going to activate this fee this year. And then two, the ability for us to move forward with a proposal for how we move forward with extended closures and possibly keeping more folks as annual licenses. So I'll just pass to you, Madam Chair, if there's questions or how you'd like to proceed.
What are people's thoughts on this? Brooke?
Amy, I'm assuming you've been talking to the folks that have been reporting their closures to you about the possibility that this fee would be imposed, this additional fee. What's the reaction you're getting? And I mean, I'm trying to weigh sort of the economics of this for someone, right? If you're operating at a near loss for months, this isn't necessarily a deterrent, I wouldn't think, to an extended closure. And I also think it's pretty hard for us to force someone to stay open and lose money. I don't think that makes sense. And I'm sort of wrestling with the economics of our off-season restaurant scene, you know, and the viability. Obviously, with more closures, those that stay open are rewarded because there are fewer places to go out. The point we arrive at where there's not enough places to go out is sort of where the problem becomes a problem for the community. I mean, if the public isn't eating out frequently enough to make running a restaurant year-round profitable, we need to accept that reality. Those are just sort of the thoughts rolling around in my head.
Yes, and if I can respond to that, Madam Chair, I think absolutely agree with everything you've said. And one, the reason we brought this forth, obviously, is a very public discussion right now. And I would like to see the ability to kind of work with them and work with businesses to see kind of what works moving forward. We don't want to penalize them. It's not much of a penalty. What most of them will say is, about 10 of them, I would say, are just go seasonal. They're like, you know what, I'll just apply to be seasonal. And I'm like, can we hold just a minute? Because in conversations, I understand, obviously it's very public now that those that do stay open are doing so at a loss, very much so. And for years and years, some did that to keep staff annually living here. and things of that sort. But the decisions, financial decisions, are being made off island now. You know, you might have bean counters and other companies making these decisions. So we're dealing with a different environment. So I think what I'd like to see is the discussion of how we can, within the law that is now, with the seasonal versus annual, and I've had this discussion with legal, without making a whole home rule petition again, is if we can have a more flexible annual situation for licensees who want to have that flexibility. One of these licensees closed is like, I said, hey, you started as a seasonal or started as an annual, you know, what happened? Staffing. I said, what about next year? If you were able to work that out, would you be open? Absolutely. I had a call from another one, second time in a few years. Hey, we want to open in March. Easter's March 31st. Can we open for Easter weekend? For food, yes. Liquor, no. April 1st is day one. Someone said, you know, something like the Ellen Hildebrand weekend. Great weekend. They, you know, it's an event weekend, and the business that was open did very well. You know, maybe there's some things like that that can happen in the future. So they said we've had requests for private events in the off season at some of these places. We still have folks who come to their houses in the off season, right? These are all different opportunities, I think, for these restaurants where I want to allow for that. There might be a year that they do have staffing, and we might have some folks. Lemon Press has asked in the past to open in March because they were there. Proprietors has done the same thing. Some years are different than others. So trying to stick to these strict guidelines that work for the rest of the world is difficult. I want to have that discussion and see if we can be not punitive, but more flexible. Whereas seasonals, the ones that would be required to be seasonal, are those that don't have that options. The Sandbar, the Galley, the Summer House, folks like that are truly seasonal, May to October. They don't have options. It's a weather-based business. So I think what I'm asking is I think this fee, which is just a seasonal license fee, they're not open that much. So it's pretty fair. It's not much different. If they were to change to a seasonal, it'd be about $500-600 to apply for it. So we can make them go back and forth each year, or work on and say that this was enacted at a time that is now completely different than the world we're living in now. So that possibly that we work on a process and a proposal for you that would better fit what we're seeing now. That makes sense.
Matt?
Yeah, there's an interesting I've had some interesting conversations with some of the businesses that do stay open. And prior to, COVID, prior to the situation we're in now where there's nobody to hire, what happens if you allow it to be completely flexible is that the ones that are struggling and staying open all winter at a loss are looking forward to Easter weekend, and they're looking forward to a couple other of those weekends so they can break even or make a little bit to take the edge off the winter. And what happens if you allow everybody just to open and close as they see fit? They'll look at the calendar, they'll look at the, is it going to be good weather on Stroll? We'll open. If it's not going to be good weather, we won't bother. Let's try a few days here at Easter, and then we'll shut it down for 6 weeks. And so I think there has to be some incentive for the businesses that stick it out and hold their employees and pay their employees all winter. I mean, there has to be some incentive and not just taking their profit away, on the big weekends. So there has to be a balance. And I think it used to be that the town was fairly strict and would make the restaurant association hand in a list of, various restaurants, and there was a a breakfast place, a medium place, and a higher end place opened in town and out of town all the time. And so they worked it out so that there was a 6 week, there was 6 weeks where they would close or so, but people would cover. And I don't feel like we are asking for that anymore. And I think that, so we are not getting it. And what we're getting, you're 100% right, Amy. We're getting the corporate entities and, and all that entails, and it's a different mindset. I do think there's a fair number of places open. People think they aren't open, but they've just shifted. They're different places than they used to be. And so I think that's not the medium to higher end restaurants necessarily. It's takeout food. It's what the year-round population is going and picking up and bringing home. And so I think it's things have shifted. One suggestion I've had, a fairly smart restaurant person offer is charge maybe it's the same fee for everybody or slight difference. But then if someone closes for more than 2 or 3 weeks, they have to get re-inspected and pay all those things again to open. So that there's a bit of and that stuff, as anyone has to do it, that those things can be a real bureaucracy and can be a big pain. Maybe you just force, a re-inspection and a reopening fee so that, people aren't just doing it for 3 days and closing and for 6 weeks and opening again for a weekend. I mean, make it, so there's something like that maybe you can consider.
Yes, absolutely. And that kind of discussion is what I want to see happen, and to understand that, because I can make all the policy I want and then they tell me what their business is really like, and it shines light on that. I'll address one thing, and something we've been stricter on this year is and with help with the fire department, 30 days or more, they require the fire department to come back through. So we are requiring either they are not issued a license until they open, or if they close for 30 or more days in this period, they need to return their license to us. So one, we know when they actually do open back up, and that they are inspected again by the fire department, because as we know, the most important certificate for a liquor license is fire safety certificate. So if fire needs to re-inspect, they don't have a license. The license is essentially suspended. So that is already in place. And we absolutely agree that the fee would be based on when they open to the public for an extended period. So those are definitely parts of the discussion. So I was looking at a vote on establishing that fee again this year, and then to let us have that discussion. The other part too, to address your question about the Restaurant Association, and we've been talking about this for years, and obviously there's a huge shift in restaurant owners and such, but they are interested in moving towards that. Peter at the Chamber and Chantal Culture and Tourism and myself, we're going to get together with folks, and certainly they're going to work with them on doing that again, because they'll get a whole lot more done as a group than trying to go through us. So those things are absolutely in progress.
Yeah. And another quick comment is there's a kind of a misunderstanding out there. This was a family member over the holidays was like, oh, now all the restaurants leave for the winter and they make another $1 million down south, and then they come back. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Most of these businesses are not making $1 million. And, and some that are going down south, some started there and came up, but some of them go down south now. And they've told me this because it's a way to attract and retain employees. So they can break even or lose a little bit or make a little bit down there, but then they have a staff up here for the summer. So some of them are doing it, are not exiting because they're making so much money that they're taking the winter off. They are doing it for, in large part for survival. And I think that is sort of lost in the general, and then there's the idea of, well, we're not servicing the visitors who are here to, for the weekend, or here to, open their house, or here to buy a house. We're not servicing them well enough. Well, yeah, but they're not here. They're only here, So there is it's a different world right now.
Yeah, correct. And that's what we hope to address and try to move forward in that world. Definitely. Certainly.
Brooke?
So I would move that we reinstitute the fee, and with the idea that we'll review all these policies again after we get some sort of feedback from the restaurants against whom this is applied. And
Yeah, I would agree with that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor by roll call: Brooke Moore,
aye.
Matt Fay,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. So we'll stay tuned on how
Yes.
this develops.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to renewal of sidewalk dining permits and public property fees. We established this last year for the downtown core restaurants that were allowed sidewalk seating under the pandemic-related conditions that were applied. The state has kept extending our ability to do it locally, but we did last year to say everyone needs to apply for a permanent, which they did with the ABCC. So what we set up is a annual review, like when we renew general licenses, is renewal of the terms and conditions. Since it says public property and the fees, which we included, the locations, and again, this is a renewal of these permits. They would need to comply with the conditions and apply for that to be issued a final permit. The licenses, again, we listed that have been having outdoor seating: Ethos Nantucket at 18 Broad Street, Rosencrown at 23 Water Street, Nantaco at 21 South Water, the Club Car at 1 Main Street. Again, the Beat, which is has an application today to change their name to Misogi, I'm sorry, Noodle Bar, I'm saying that wrong, 9 South Water. Lemon Press at 41 Main Street. They again are one with a condition that they only can do dinner beginning at 5 p.m. because of the location. And then again in Straight Wharf, Backyard Barbecue. So those locations are eligible for renewal. If again, another location on public property wanted to apply, they would have to certainly go through that request and application process, but we've been trying to stick to kind of what worked during the pandemic and because of space issues. So I've included, again, I've no requested changes to the license agreement for the sidewalk seating, which we include here with the terms. Hours, again, the only one with a specific condition on that is Lemon Press for 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. only and not during the day, since they have a very hefty line for their takeout. The conditions and the fees haven't changed. Again, it was the first year. We generally say April 1st to stroll or to the end of the year, depending on weather. The one thing we have to be a little bit stricter on is, again, if they are closed or not using outdoor space for more than 3 days, we ask for removal or cleanup of the area, especially as we get into the fall with weather. So we had to kind of chase a couple down on that. But in most cases, didn't see many issues and didn't request any changes. So any questions?
Matt?
Yeah, my question, I think you may have just answered it. Did we have any issues with any of these that we should be discussing from the public or from the police or your office or anyone?
Nothing, like I mentioned, the one thing, and it was someone new that I frequently got calls about tables being left out and they didn't seem to be used for multiple days, and I need to keep on that and alert our CSOs to that as they're walking around so that we keep an eye on that. But we kind of clean that up. I got one citizen request on the club car tables because it was opposite a certain sign, and we, kind of worked with them to move that. So other than that, I think Daffodil Weekend, we might have had some people who wanted to leave those locations with alcohol, which was a problem in various locations. But so we'll be a little bit tighter on that, obviously, this year. But again, it was, first weekend of the season tends to be a little bit like that. But other than that, I didn't have major complaints. And there's no music or anything with these sites as well. So other than making sure they clean up and that sort of situation we have to keep on.
And yeah, so I'll move approval with the understanding that Amy will threaten to take it away if they don't move their chairs and tables regularly. If they're making too much of a headache on you or the police, etc., then we just, this summer or next year, they're done.
Yeah.
So I'll make it with that caveat.
And I'll second with a question.
Okay,
Do you have the authority to, or what's the process to revoke the privilege or the license to do it if someone's offending during the season?
Well, we can, like anything that we do that we revoke or deny, we would provide a hearing, obviously. But in a situation of public safety or anything of that sort, there would be ability to suspend immediately because this is public property. And generally, it's going to be public safety or nuisance. And the town is, the steward of that property. So it's a property owner situation, and we have caveats in there and in the agreement for that. So it would be suspended, and they would be provided a hearing to discuss.
okay. Can we go to a vote? Is there anything? Okay, all those in favor, Brooke Moore,
I
Matt Fee, Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Thank you. Next up is our yearly vote on the seasonal population of Nantucket as of July 10th, 2024. Every year we vote on the estimated population because the seasonal package store off-premise licenses, the number allowed under the quota are determined based on the estimate of 1 per 5,000. Now that is separate from annual liquor licenses that are based on every 10 years. The census population, as I outlined here, that was renewed in 2020, where we only went up to 14,000 from 10,000. So it wasn't enough to add licenses, and we're 2 over on annual. So that's where we are. We're currently full on both. For the past several years, we have voted on a seasonal population of 45,000. That was based on a earlier Nantucket Data Platform report that reported on cell phone usage and stuff. That was prior to the pandemic. We have chosen not to increase that number. And I've spoken to the state about this. If we feel we're at a good place, we don't know if there's going to be incredible increase. There's no need to increase it. Like I mentioned, we are full as far as package store licenses. I have 2 underway for transfer. But other than that, there is no available new licenses. So someone wanted a package store, it would have to be transferred from an existing one. So that's where we are now. In order to add another seasonal, again, April 1st to January 15th package store license, you'd have to increase the vote of seasonal population to at least 50,000. Our recommendation is to remain at 45,000. I don't think there is any great need for additional package stores. We have 5 annual all alcohol, 5 beer and wine, 10 there, and then 9 seasonal. So 19 package stores on a license with 107 total liquor licenses. So we don't have any newer reports as far as what the population has been, and we know it's been up and down based on post-pandemic travel habits. So I don't see a need this year to any increase, but we'll take questions on that.
Thoughts, questions, Tom?
Madam Chair, through you to Amy. Amy, you mentioned 2 licenses over. Can you just clarify?
Yep, and I'm not sure where exactly this happened back in the day. It's been a long time standing. We had a population count from 2010 of 10,000. So it's possible it went down or up at a time where we already had 5 all alcohol liquor licenses that were annual. The quota would make it at 3. Where that went over, I can't exactly say from the records. I can't find it in the records. But since we are based on the current population, we either go up population in 8 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever, at the next census count, or we lose 3 all alcohol licenses, and then we can add 1. So it's a little bit of weird math, but that's kind of historically how it's been.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Matt?
Yeah, I support the 45,000 number, and I think our peak might be 55 or 60 on a few weekends. But if you average June, July, August, September, we're probably down in the 40 range, 45. In the winter, we're more than 15, but
Right.
that's well served. And so I think it's a good recommendation for now.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call? Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Okay, now I think we have a public hearing. Do you need to open that?
I will open the public hearing.
Right. So we have a new restaurant application to include a common vicular with seasonal all alcoholic beverages on premise license, and a non-live entertainment license that we'll handle in the next public hearing. Earlier today, we accepted the surrender at 12 Federal Street for LH Manager Northeast. This is a new application for John Boy's LLC, DBA, still the Pearl and Boarding House, 12 Federal Street, Abigail Air Manager. This is, so a couple points here, if you're wondering why we're doing another new license a year out from the last one. Abby was the manager, liquor license manager on the previous license, will continue to do so, and will now be the owner of this LLC, John Boy's LLC. The previous LLC is left the management of this location. This is more of a management agreement and change. There were no compliance issues or issues with the former operator. This is a business and administrative decision. We're very happy. Abby is a wonderful manager, and there'll be consistency. We had no issues with the management last year. Again, this is a business change here with no bad reason for it. It's just a business change as well. So the licenses under review here, same exact licenses as were issued last year with a new liquor license, and the her legal team and Abby and the owners decided on applying for a new license rather than a transfer. That was their decision, and that's absolutely fine, which is why we accepted the surrender. So again, this is a common vicular seasonal, as it's always been, all alcoholic beverages restaurant liquor license. Again, we include the considerations for a new liquor license, no issues, a long existing location, and no real changes to any of the conditions of the license. So take any questions.
Questions? It's a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? I'm not seeing any hands. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to
Move
close
to
the public
close.
hearing.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
moved.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the entertainment license. This is, we can't transfer these, so it has to be a new application. Again, as I mentioned before, now will be under John Boy's LLC with Abigail Ayer still as the manager. Again, no changes. This is a non-live, meaning streaming and pre-recorded music only, and television. Interior only at this location, no outdoor speakers at the boarding house area patio or other side patio. This is interior music and streaming music only.
Any questions, comments? It's a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay, all those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
And also, we need to do a non-detrimental to the spiritual activities of St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church at 3 Federal Street, which is located within 500 feet of the licensed premises.
Yes, is there a motion to that effect?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. And
you.
Move to approve.
Second.
all those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Sorry, did you just do 2 votes on the non-detrimental?
I think the last one was to approve, but I actually think we
You already voted on that.
already did that, but
Okay.
that's fine. No, normally for the next ones, I think we do them together,
Yeah,
Do them with the liquor.
but so
yeah, I forgot, sorry.
we covered extra bases.
Yeah,
What's the next one? Sorry, I keep trying to pull up the agenda.
and this one will require a non-detrimental as well, I believe. So
And
this,
John just needs to open the public hearing.
sorry.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing.
Thank you. This is a multiple amendments liquor license application for what is currently the B at 9 South Water Street, license number 4909. They're requesting several amendments. This is going to be a change of class, meaning they want to change from an annual to a seasonal license. Change of corporate name, which is going to be the LLC from keeping the Beat LLC to the Fat Noodle LLC. The changing the DBA, which is filed with the town clerk, is DBA, and if I say this wrong, I apologize, Misogi Noodle Bar is going to be the new DBA. In addition, there's a slight alteration of premises, in addition of an interior bar with 7 seats. This was a kind of more of a serving area that will now be a place people can sit to eat and drink as well. So just a couple things here. It sounds like a new business. However, it is going to be Felino Sampson is going to remain as the liquor license manager as he was before. There's just a change in management and LLC managers and ownership. So that's why in multiple amendments, it's not being transferred. And I'm unsure, Erica, to that question. It's just being transferred to a new LLC. It is not a transfer of ownership. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. And they have supplied all of the required documentations. Again, same management, lease agreement, location, and then just changing that service bar to 7 seats for eating and drinking. I'll take any questions.
Brooke?
Is that adding 7 seats or reallocating 7 seats to a bar?
It is adding 7 seats, and any approval would require obviously a final COI inspection for that location. So, yeah. Any questions?
Anybody? Motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
There's no hands up, just to, all those in favor? Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
So I'll move that we approve the amendments to the license, the liquor license, with a
Not being-
statement that is not detrimental to the spiritual activities of the church.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
think I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all
Next
very
we
much.
have some utility petitions. This is for 38 Monahanset Road. I'll open the public hearing. Are there any questions or comments on this?
We have Tim Lyford on from National Grid if you have any questions.
Okay. Are there any public comments? I see no hands. Can we close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
All those in favor by roll call? Brooke Moore,
aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
So I'll move approval, but I want to draw attention to the fact that the DPW comment includes the full length of the conduit should be encased in concrete. I just want to make note of that in my motion.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously.
Sorry, who seconded that?
Matt.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a utility petition for 5 Pinecrest Drive. Are there any questions?
I'll move to open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll open the public hearing. Do you want to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close it.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb, John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve subject to department comments.
Mhm.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Next up, we have, this one is for 12 West York to accommodate a new driveway. There may be some questions on this one. I'll open the public hearing.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, Brooke?
So I have a question. I just want to make sure we're not moving one person's problem with their driveway to another driveway. I meant to drive by and look at it, but I just want to make sure this isn't going to impact the driveway of the neighbor that it's getting closer to.
Donald Vonner from Verizon is here to speak on this, but the owner of the property, Jeff Shapiro, has his hand raised.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
If Jeff can't speak, I can speak for him probably. This is Don Bonner.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the purpose of this petition is to move the pole, which is essentially in the center of his property along the street. And apparently he's putting in a new driveway. So what we're doing is we're moving the pole southward towards 14 York, but still in front of 12 West York property. And then we have to put another pole up to the northern side, also in front of the 12 West York property. So we're basically moving one pole out, but because the span is going to be too long, we have to put another one up the top. Neither pole is slated to go in front of either of his neighbors' properties. I believe that answers your question.
Brooke?
Actually, it doesn't completely because if the pole is close to the property line and the neighbor's driveway is at that edge of their property, the turning radius becomes difficult. And we've had issues with this, driveways being put in and people then wanting to get rid of parking spaces across the street because they can't turn. So I just want to confirm that the driveway at 14 is not, the turning radius of that driveway is not impacted even if the pole is on 12 property. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm trying to pull up a measurement here if I can get it. The answer is no, it's not affecting their property because the pole is, I believe, 6 feet, I think it was, southward
Okay.
of the property line. So it's not anywhere, well, it's near, but it's not affecting their property.
Okay,
It should
thank
be
you.
far south of that.
Erica?
I don't know if anybody actually drove by this or not. The existing pole is not blocking the new driveway location. It's just in the middle of the property. And so the owner is asking for it to be moved. Our local bylaw doesn't allow additional new poles to be put in place, to be installed, but in this case, my understanding is the new pole is almost acting as a guy wire. Is that correct, Donald?
That is true. The main purpose of this other pole is to keep the other pole safe because the span is now going to be longer and it needs help because a guy wire put on the relocated pole to the south would be detrimental, I believe, to the homeowner's driveway plans.
And again, the new driveway's there. It doesn't impact, the current location doesn't impact it, but
Okay.
There are to be no new wires, from my understanding, going off this other pole to the north.
Okay.
It's
Malcolm?
it's a guy purpose.
Malcolm?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
could you ask Erica to sort of repeat what you just said?
Erica?
so what
Did I
I
hear-
did,
Did I hear correctly that the driveway is not affected? The pole just wants to be moved?
The pole seems to be more in front of the house, like maybe in
Yes.
front of the fronts.
So why does it need to be moved?
I think they don't want it in front of their new house. But I can't speak on that. That's the applicant.
Jeff Shapiro.
My biggest concern was just that the bylaw states you can't have new poles, and we did investigate that. And because this new pole is acting as a guy wire, I just wanted to point that out in case anybody had any questions, out in the community about why a new pole was allowed.
Right, because that could open up a precedent. Jeff Shapiro?
Yes, what I just wanted to add was thank you, Erica, for driving by. The pole is tremendously dilapidated. As many of you know, there's a fire on the property and the pole is very dilapidated. And my original plan was, again, to move it to the property line, which from what I understand, these poles are, should be located, or that's the desire. In my efforts to do that, because it's the last pole in the line, it needed to be guyed in some way. And that's what this secondary guying pole is for. It's not my desire to, add 2 telephone poles to my property. I'd rather only add 1, but it's a requirement to do this. And if you drive by and see the dilapidated pole, it's very close to the road as well. It almost juts out into the road. And I do believe, it will clean up the aesthetics of my property, but at the same time, we'll move the pole into an area that's sort of further set back from the road and in the 2 corners of the property line. There'll be one pole in either corner of my property adjacent to the street, one for guying purposes and one for this, providing the service as well.
And just to be clear, the poles aren't going on his private property. They will still be within the public way.
Correct, right. But they're not going on my neighbor's property. I guess that's a better way of saying it.
Okay, Matt?
This is a question for Mr. Shapiro. Did you consider burying both poles? Was that an option?
Well, the problem is there's power lines come up. The one that's just, if you're facing my house to the right, that provides service to other homes. Per Verizon, it's going to be a better run to those homes. So I would actually, if I took that pole down, again, that requires a guide pole. I've become too knowledgeable about this. If I took that pole down, power would have to be buried to probably 3 or 4 different homes at that point, and not just my home. I am going to be burying the power from that pole to my house. But again, that pole currently serves other homes that are on West York Lane.
And as I think you all know there's a cost impact to burying poles.
Yes. Okay, what,
And I think the rationale of not allowing more poles is over time, we hope that to see that, more of them buried. And so if there's ever a way to get neighbors to work together and start burying them, it's good for coastal resiliency. It's good for the aesthetics of the island. They're not taking over sidewalks. I mean, there's a lot of positives that we, as a goal, the island's had for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, in terms of the aesthetics of this, I think wherever the last pole is going to have some guying as well, from what I understand, because this is the last pole of the run. The power comes up West York Lane, I believe, the other way. So again, that's why this is the last pole on the run and requires this guying process. And if you do see it, the existing pole is very close to the road, and I won't say it's an obstruction, but it's very, very close to the road, and it's not sort of buried into the corners as this would be in the new scenario.
okay,
But I will say that pole's never offered an impediment for travel on that road. But
this is a public hearing. I don't see any other hands raised. Does the board want to close the public hearing? Are there more questions?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Matt Fee,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. And what's the pleasure?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb.
No.
Okay, I'll vote aye. That carries 4-1. And that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam
Motion
Chair,
adjourned.
Second.
before we adjourn, Madam Chair,
Yes.
just for the record, when I was trying to get my microphone working, you had a vote on NHA. Just for the record, I'm an employee of NHA.
Thank you, Malcolm. So were you recusing from that vote?
I don't think I have to. I just think it's important to know that I.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Yes, so second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. Thank you all very much. See you Wednesday.
Mm.